The rusted old pickup truck rattled loudly as it rolled into the luxury marina auction, drawing embarrassed stares from millionaires stepping out of polished sports cars and black executive sedans. Valets exchanged amused looks while wealthy guests whispered under their breath about the single father foolish enough to arrive at a $50 million yacht auction in a truck that looked ready for a scrapyard. One arrogant CEO even laughed openly as the truck backfired near the entrance, mocking the driver for clearly being lost. But minutes later, the laughter disappeared completely. Because the quiet single dad climbing out of that battered truck was not there to admire the yacht. He owned it. And nobody at the marina was prepared for what happened next. If you believe kindness, humility, and second chances still matter in this world, take a moment to like this video, comment where you're watching from, share this story with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Moments Hub for more emotional and inspiring stories. Ethan Walker never cared much about appearances. At 42 years old, the single father lived quietly in a small coastal town with his 11-year-old daughter Chloe. Most people who saw Ethan assumed he was another struggling mechanic barely surviving paycheck to paycheck. His faded flannel shirts, oil-stained hands, and worn-out boots made him look ordinary beside wealthy business owners and luxury tourists visiting the marina every summer. But nobody knew the full story behind the quiet man driving the rusted pickup truck. Years earlier, Ethan had built one of the most successful custom marine engineering companies on the West Coast alongside his wife Amelia. Together they designed advanced yacht systems and revolutionary eco-friendly marine engines long before larger corporations recognized their potential. Their company started inside a tiny rented warehouse near the docks where Ethan and Amelia worked endless nights fueled only by coffee, exhaustion, and impossible dreams. Back then, life felt beautiful. They were not rich yet, but they were happy. Then tragedy shattered everything. Amelia died unexpectedly after a sudden medical emergency while Chloe was still a baby. The grief destroyed Ethan completely. He stopped attending business events, ignored investors, and quietly stepped away from the luxury world they spent years building together. Over time, larger corporations absorbed most of the company's public operations while Ethan disappeared from attention almost entirely. People assumed he lost everything. In reality, Ethan secretly retained ownership of several revolutionary marine patents and one extraordinary asset few people even knew existed, a futuristic luxury yacht called the Aurora. The yacht had originally been Amelia's dream. Designed privately by Ethan and Amelia over several years, the Aurora combined breathtaking engineering with sustainable technology decades ahead of competitors. But after Amelia's death, Ethan could no longer bear seeing the project completed. He quietly stored the finished yacht through private holding companies and avoided discussing it publicly for over 10 years. Instead, he focused completely on raising Chloe. Every morning Ethan prepared her breakfast before taking jobs repairing boats around the harbor. Every evening he helped with homework while pretending not to notice how lonely life still felt without Amelia. Although he technically possessed extraordinary wealth through investments and ownership rights, Ethan lived simply because expensive things no longer mattered to him. Chloe, however, inherited her mother's warmth. She constantly encouraged Ethan to reconnect with the dreams he abandoned years earlier. Sometimes she asked questions about the Aurora after discovering old design sketches hidden inside the garage workshop. Ethan always smiled quietly before changing the subject. Then one autumn morning, everything changed. A massive international auction company announced plans to auction one of the world's most technologically advanced luxury yachts, the Aurora. Without Ethan's direct permission, a corporate partner secretly pushed the yacht into public sale negotiations believing its value could exceed $50 million among billionaire collectors. The announcement exploded across global business news overnight. Luxury investors, celebrity executives, and wealthy collectors flooded into town preparing to compete for ownership of the legendary yacht few people had ever seen publicly. One of those investors was Victor Langford. Victor was the arrogant CEO of a powerful marine technology corporation known for aggressively buying smaller companies and humiliating competitors. Wealthy, polished, and obsessed with status, Victor viewed success as proof of superiority over ordinary people. The moment he arrived at the marina auction surrounded by assistants and cameras, attention followed him everywhere. Meanwhile, Ethan arrived quietly in his old pickup truck wearing faded jeans, brown work boots, and a weathered navy jacket. Chloe sat beside him smiling nervously while carrying a folder containing original yacht blueprints her mother once designed. As they entered the marina parking area, several wealthy guests immediately stared at the truck with visible amusement. Victor noticed them instantly. He smirked openly after hearing the truck's loud engine struggle before shutting off beside rows of luxury vehicles worth more than most homes. The CEO made cruel remarks loud enough for nearby guests to hear, mocking the idea that someone dressed like a dock worker could belong near an elite yacht auction. People laughed awkwardly around him. Chloe lowered her eyes quietly. But Ethan simply placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder and kept walking toward the marina without responding. Years of grief had taught him something important. The loudest people often understand the least. Inside the enormous marina showroom, wealthy investors gathered around giant screens displaying breathtaking images of the aurora. The yacht looked almost unreal. Sleek silver exterior, futuristic glass architecture, advanced sustainable engines, and luxurious design unlike anything else on the water. People whispered in admiration throughout the room. Victor confidently informed reporters he intended to purchase the yacht no matter the price because owning it would prove who truly leads the future of marine innovation. Then the auction host stepped onto the stage. The atmosphere grew silent. Moments later, the host announced something completely unexpected. Before bidding could officially begin, the owner of the Aurora wished to speak personally. Confusion spread across the room immediately. Most people assumed the owner was some hidden billionaire investor living overseas. Then Ethan quietly stood up from the back row beside Chloe. The entire marina froze. Victor laughed initially, assuming it was some misunderstanding. But the laughter vanished when legal representatives approached Ethan respectfully and handed him official ownership documents connected to the Aurora. Shock spread across every face in the room. Reporters turned instantly toward the quiet single father standing calmly in faded work clothes beside his daughter. Victor's expression changed completely. Ethan slowly walked onto the stage while giant screens behind him displayed photographs of Amelia, early yacht sketches, and years of private engineering work hidden from the world for over a decade. For the first time publicly, Ethan told the real story behind the Aurora. He explained how the yacht was never created for wealth or status. It was built from love, sacrifice, and dreams shared between two people who believed innovation should improve lives rather than impress strangers. The room fell silent listening to him speak. Then Ethan revealed something even more shocking. He had no intention of selling the yacht to the highest bidder. Instead, he announced the creation of the Amelia Walker Oceanic Foundation, an organization dedicated to developing sustainable marine technology while funding scholarships for children who lost parents unexpectedly, just like Chloe nearly lost everything after Amelia's death. The Aurora would become the Foundation's flagship research vessel. Reporters stared speechlessly. Investors looked stunned. And Victor Langford suddenly realized the quiet man he mocked carried more success, integrity, and vision than anyone else in the marina. But the emotional moment that truly changed everything came afterward. As cameras flashed around the stage, Chloe nervously stepped forward holding one final blueprint drawn by Amelia years earlier. It showed Ethan, Amelia, and a little girl standing together beside the Aurora beneath handwritten words about building something meaningful enough to outlive them all. Ethan struggled to hold back tears. Because for years he believed abandoning the yacht protected him from grief. Instead, he realized he had been hiding from the final dream Amelia hoped they would finish together. The crowd erupted into applause unlike anything heard earlier that day. Not because of wealth. Not because of luxury. but because people finally understood the deeper value behind the man standing before them. Victor quietly left the marina without speaking to reporters. For the first time in years, humiliation forced him to confront how deeply he judged people based on appearances alone. Meanwhile, Ethan and Chloe walked slowly through the harbor later that evening while sunset reflected softly across the water surrounding the aurora. Chloe smiled proudly at her father and asked whether her mother would have been happy seeing everything finally completed. Ethan looked toward the yacht glowing peacefully beside the docks and finally answered honestly in his heart. Yes. Before this story ends, tell us in the comments, have you ever been underestimated because of your appearance or simple lifestyle? As waves touched gently against the marina that night, Ethan realized something powerful. True wealth is not measured by what people see parked outside. It is measured by the love, character, and sacrifices hidden beneath the surface. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share this video with someone who needs hope today. And subscribe to Moments Hub for more emotional stories that remind us humility will always outshine arrogance in the end.